Over here next to the bar is what we call the bar closet. The bar closet holds things that we need for dining room setup and some higher end glassware that we use primarily for night events. When setting up the dining room, the items you will need from the bar closet are waiter books, which are guest checkbooks that we use for the waiters to carry their menus and checks and things around. And we also need tray stands. Tray stands are here on the wall. We'll need one tray stand per table. We got to come and get these early, so we use these to set things on, like silverware, so we could set the dining room. So tray stands and waiter books are primarily the only items you will need from this closet. Okay, the dining room also has a bar, which we don't use during the daytime service class. We will use them occasionally at night for events. This bar has an espresso maker, which we do practice in the day serving class. It's going to be difficult to do an online lesson on espresso making. I'd simply say go to Starbucks and pay attention. Back bar, refrigeration, very loud refrigeration. Cabinets to hold items, and then a workspace from behind. This slide top freezer is for chilling beer glasses. Should be empty. It is. We sanitize that before we fill it with beer glasses, so that when we serve beer it's ice cold in an ice cold glass. We have one sink. We put a little garbage can under there. This is for chill area. This is an ice bin for drinking ice, which is the same as food. So this would be sanitized before being filled, and you would always use scoops and never hands or glassware to get ice out of it. Next to it is a 6-bin holder, and these are removable. And there's also a drain at the bottom of that bin. This is meant to be filled, well, not filled, but partially filled with ice. These containers would go back in. And then each of these containers can hold something like containers of orange juice or cranberry juice, or open bottles of white wine, and keep them cold. But it's not really in the ice, so they don't stay cold. Keeps them cool. So we've got 6 holders over there, 6 holders over here. Obviously a lot more than we need in this class. This area here, you can see how there are some raised portions of that stainless steel. That's for draining, and there's a drain there that we work hard to keep nice and clean, not filled with crud. And then this part right here, this shelf, would be known as a drink rail or a shelf. This is where you would hold bottles of liquor in a real bar that you would need all the time, so you don't have to turn around. It doesn't hold everything you need, just your main items. And then we have another sink. And then we have another sink. I can't really tell you why we have 2 sinks, but we've got plenty of sinks here. So this is the bar. We don't use this much in the daytime, but we will set things up on the front and the back for us to utilize in our service. Continuing with our tour, just off the dining room is the wait station. Waiter prep station. This is where we will get all our foods, beverages, things set up that we use for the dining room serving, not necessarily setting. So we'll just have a little quick run through in here and take a look at what's going on. In here we have carafes. These are tall, clear glass decanters that we use to serve iced tea and water. And those are fairly tall, about 12 inches tall. Okay. Next over here, sinks. This is not a prep sink. This is not a hand washing sink, and we rarely use this sink. This is where the best water in the building comes out of. This whole line, water dispenser, iced tea brewer, and coffee brewers are all tied into the water line right under here that has an additional filter, which you can see back there. So the building water is filtered, and then this water is filtered, which means if you're going to drink water in this building, this is the best water to drink right here. Most culinary students learn that, and you'll see them back here filling their water bottles regularly. Also, here is an ice bin. This is what we would fill up with ice each day in order to use for ice water and iced tea. And we sanitize that regularly as well. Iced tea brewer. Double coffee burner. This is a holding burner, so we can brew more coffee and be able to have it all ready to go. Coffee brewers. These are set up with plumbing, so there's no need to pour water into the top. Plumbing set up. This is simple, push button and brew. We have two of those. Capability of making plenty of coffee. Then underneath we have some storage. Those coffee cups we don't use in the service class. We've switched to clear glass mugs. And then over here, these are what we call simple syrup containers. These are tiny little carafes. And what we do is brew a simple syrup, which is simply sugar and water, and this allows our guests to sweeten their iced tea without having to tear open dozens of little packets that we then have to clean up. Moving on, hand washing sink, operated by pushing your knee against that. Soap dispensed automatically, towels dispensed automatically. This is a no-touch hand washing situation, so when your hands are washed, they should stay clean, and you can then serve guests safely. Double door refrigerator that we use for waiters in here. This refrigerator should be empty, but you never know what kind of surprises you'll find. Empty. Oh, we got some heavy cream here. What's the date? Oh, not that long ago. Obviously, we won't be using that. This is more of a prep sink. This area is a work area for us. And then back here we have two big, tall, stand-up items that look like refrigerators. In fact, one is a refrigerator, one is a warmer, and they have no shelves. These are meant to hold rolling racks of sheet pans for production. So we will often get our desserts delivered to us on this type of wheeled rack that simply goes right on in. So we won't be storing things in there like lemons or cream. That's going to be just waiting for us to get stuff delivered to us cold, like fancy butter or pre-made salads or desserts. The next one's a warmer. We don't use this very much for food, but we do fill this with things that we want to keep warm, like teapots and coffee mugs, etc. So this is not turned on at the moment, but this gets very hot if we need it to. And then finally, we will have one prep table over here that we work from in the waiter station. Right now, it's filled with things that don't need to be here. These would be gone if we were running class, but right now they're here. So this is the waiter station. Here in the back hallway by the rear entry are the refrigerators and walk-in freezer. And then we have next to it is what we call the long closet. The long closet is where most of the items you're going to need to get set up in the waiter station for dining room service are kept. So we'll take a look inside the long closet. Okay, heading inside the long closet, there's lots and lots of things here. First of all, this whole rolling rack of glassware. These are coffee mugs, water glasses, and iced tea pint glasses. So this whole rack will roll out. Next to it is the whole long rack that hold our large waiter trays and small drink trays. So this whole rack gets rolled out into the waiter station. And you'll see why we call this the long closet, because it's very long. Over here on the left, we start with a linen bag. This is the bag that we would put our dirty linen in, napkins and tablecloths specifically. Moving down on the right, this is where we're going to find all these kinds of things to set up the dining room. Sugar bowls, holders for cream that go with the coffee, hot teapots down beneath, lots and lots of those. We'll need those for setting the dining room. Next shelf is all the linen. And when we say linen, we specifically mean tablecloths and napkins. Right now we have two sizes of tablecloths that we use in the dining room. For the small executive dining room, we use these small cloths because those are smaller tables. And for the regular dining room, we use these cloths, 72-inch square round from Alsco linen. So you can see we're packed up pretty well here with linen for serving. Packs of 10, that's enough to get us through for the first session of service. Right now we switched to green napkins, so we're using green linen napkins. Going the rest of the way down here, there's not a lot here on the right side we need. This is storage for more culinary operations, not the dining room serving. But coming down here on the left side, we've got some things that we're going to need for the dining room, such as coffee pots for brewing, coffee pots for holding, water pitchers, some more glass pots to brew into. We use these tall, narrow baskets for bread. More stainless steel that we need. Tongs, ice scoops are kept in these containers here. Salt and pepper shakers go here with refill containers. When we refill, we do it right on the tray so we don't make a mess. This is where we keep our assortment of hot teas. And we've got quite a bit of backup hot tea down here. These are our fancy tea boxes that we use to serve the tea to guests in. Lots of variety. And then back over here is where we keep our sugar. Other sweeteners, green stuff, yellow stuff, blue stuff, pink stuff. Sugar bowls get all of those things. We also keep our coffee here, packets of regular coffee, packets of decaf coffee right next door. These boxes are labeled coffee and decaf. We also keep our iced tea back here. So we don't keep empty boxes. That's one of our iced tea packets. And then we have some other storage up high, like iced tea tanks that we need to brew into. So basically the long closet is where we get just about everything we need to set the waiter station. Not set the dining room necessarily, with the exception of the linen. So most of the things that come out of here are the responsibility of the dining service students, and then it's our responsibility to get them back in at the end of class each day. Okay, across from the walk-in refrigerators and freezers is dry storage. So there's some things that we're going to need from dry storage. So let's have a look. We're going to need some parchment paper on occasion, which is kept right there. So we'll get some sheets of parchment paper for using for lining sheet pans and for filling bread baskets. And rubber gloves are kept underneath. We'll gather some of these up early in the semester and keep them in the waiter station for us. And then over here we're going to need some containers that hold cut lemons. So they call these Cambros. So we've got small ones, medium ones, large ones. So we're going to just focus on the smaller ones. And then the caps, the covers, go down here in this bus tub. So if you're going to get a Cambro, make sure you get a cover that matches. And for the most part, those are the only two things we're going to need from dry storage. There's a ton of things in here that culinary students use all day long. Spices and food products and all kinds of things. That's not something to worry about in this class. But this is our area for just two things. Directly across the hallway from the long closet is the laundry room. So let's take a look inside the laundry room. There's not much we need in here except for some clean towels. So they're pretty easy to find. Clean towels. So we need a couple of those each day. Dirty towels go right over here on top of the washing machine in a bin called, you guessed it, dirty towels. We don't do the laundry, but we will need to get laundry. If you can't find clean towels, sometimes take a look in the dryer. Looks like there's some in there. And often we are out of towels. If that's the case, then we'll figure something else out as a group. Okay, sanitizer buckets are here. We don't necessarily need them in the waiter station. Sanitizer spray bottles are fully created and available down below. Those we may need. Do not leave tablecloths, napkins, or waiter jackets in here because they will get wrecked. We have different places for those. So this is the laundry room. Completing our tour, we will go take a look at the ice machine. It's down here in the back hallway. Okay, it's big. It produces more ice than we ever needed. And it's an interesting way that the ice comes out without touching it. So if you need ice, get yourself one of these carts. You are going to drive it right under the chute. Open the lid. And this guard right here can be lifted and the ice will flow out. If the ice isn't moving fast enough, you can use a tool that's over here, this long white paddle. That would go right up in this slot right here on the top guard. And then the ice would come falling down. And then you can again open this pan, if you will, to let the ice get down into the chute. And then we transport by wheel. Never stick your hand in there for any reason ever. We do have ice scoops here, good sized ones, but you don't need to use those either. So when we go get our ice, we're going to use this cart and just fill it up. And when it comes back at the end of the day, or when you're done using it, you put it back over here in the corner, leave it open so they'll air dry. These get sanitized regularly. So that's our ice machine. So down the end of the hall, near the baking lab, is the student break room. You're welcome to sit in here between classes, on breaks, during class, or anytime you want to be in the building during business hours. The refrigeration here is mostly used for different types of continuing education, but we do have a student refrigerator here on the left, marked as student refrigerator. You also have the opportunity to brew some coffee and use a microwave to heat up your food. And then we have all kinds of healthy snacks and healthy beverages behind us here. You have to pay for these. So this is available anytime the building is unlocked. This is the student break room. Okay, so this is the dishwasher drop-off zone for the student servers. The people operating the dish machine are back there. We need to feed them the dirty dishes and glasses through here. This is obviously really cluttered right now, but when we have actual dining service, this will be empty, waiting for us with all the proper racks. But I want to point out to you, in the background, you can see that brown door. That's the china room where we get our silverware, bread plates, and all kinds of things. Okay, just next to the china room is a hand washing sink for the kitchen. So student servers need to wash their hands every time they handle dirty plates. So if they return from the dining room with a dirty plate, like a soup bowl or a salad plate, they need to come here and wash these. Another no-touch sink, knee operating for water, battery operating for soap, and battery operating for towels. Beyond this is the china room. We'll take a look inside there. This is where we get a lot of items that we would need to set our tables with. So specifically when we come in, we're going to be looking for flatware. Most of these are labeled. When they're put away properly, they're easy to find. If they're not put away properly, we could still find them. And then we also need the bread plates that we served that day before. As you can see, you have a few different sizes, and the bread plates are about the same size as a saucer. And it's the number one thing that seems to get mixed up with new students serving the dining room. Okay? That's a bread plate. That's a saucer. You can tell by that little indentation in the middle made to hold the coffee cup. A few other things back here. Extra empty water glass racks, iced tea carafe racks are up here if we need them. And for the dish machine operators, they have their racks here that they wash silverware and coffee cups and other things in. We also keep in this room metal tray stands. These are used in front of the dishwashing machine for you to land your trays on, and those extra tall ones in the background are used for kitchen pickup because they're nice and high. That's what you would use to hold your trays while the chefs are assembling the food you'll be bringing out. So that concludes the tour. I hope you paid attention because we're going to have a quiz on lots of the locations. So if this was a real lab, you'd know where all this stuff is, so you can set the tables, get the dining room ready, and serve the guests. But we don't have tables, dining room, or guests, so we're just going to virtually do those things in this class. Hope you enjoyed it.